long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, the Mandalorian was given a mission by Bo-Katan, a Mandalorian herself, to go help the child find a Jedi known as Ahsoka Tano. Very quickly, as a quick pit stop to Navarro, the Mandalorian and the child race to Ahsoka Tano to hopefully learn more about this fabled Jedi race. And here we are, episode 3 of The Mandalorian, Fake Nerds Watch. I'm Ben Magnet, Brandon T. McClure, Ryan Eliopoulos, and Sparks Witty. And we're talking about the Jedi, of course, and the tragedy. And oh shit, we got some things to say, and they're all good things.
We got Grogu. We got a baby Grogu.
We got Grogu. Up, we got a name for the first things first. We got a name for the child, and I
do really love. Mostly, God, Mom, I do really love. It's just when it's like his name's Grogu, and when he's like Grogu,
yeah, in the next episode, yeah.
Just what?
I love. I the name really grew on me. At first, I was kind of like, At first, I was thinking to myself, I was like, if you really wanted to come up with something that was going to co-opt the Baby Yoda thing, you really should have come up with something cuter. But I'm kind of into it. I like Grogu.
I'm getting into it.
It's a Star Wars name. Like it's a Star Wars name.
I never had a problem with Grogu.
Yeah.
Well, so what I was thinking to myself was, if I were the marketing team for Lucasfilm, and I've been adamant that you got to call this thing the child. It's the child. It's not Baby Yoda. It's the child. Knowing how prevalent Baby Yoda as a name has become, I would have probably tried to be like, and this is the marketing team, not the creative team. I would have probably just been like, you got to come up with something cuter than Baby Yoda because we got to stop. We got to get people to stop calling it Baby Yoda for marketing.
Yeah. From what I know, Jon Favreau had the name like immediately. He always had the name.
Yeah.
And he's like, we're just gonna we'll work it in when we work it in. So many people are like, he should have had a Y name, and I'm like, no, that's lazy. You're lazy. You're a lazy writer, and you just want another. Grogu's fine. Who gives a shit what his name is? It's Grogu. It's the hubbub over a stupid name. Like I really can't believe it. Like sometimes Twitter.
It's the name of a alien race that does not exist in a fictional universe.
It's like,
I would have found it humorous if it was another Y name. I wouldn't have cared, honestly.
I would have liked it less than Grogu. If it was like Yodu, I'm like, oh my god, really? Of course.
I have some things.
Yeah, I would have been. That's just like fan service.
I remember in the early days of The Mandalorian, a friend of mine was like, "What if it's yodeling?" I'm like, "That's awful." I'm glad you're not writing the show.
Somebody online calls him like Yodel Hee Hoo, and I'm like, that's funny.
I have some theories about this episode that I want to relay from a friend of mine, if I may.
From the Force?
From Chris, a friend on the Nerdables podcast, former manager of Earth 2 Comics, and friend of mine.
I know that man.
Yeah, he's a huge Star Wars fan, and he he told me some stuff about Grogu that I thought was really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
If I may ex parte that information onto this.
You're already talking, Brandon. Let's hear it.
So there's a new theory going around that I actually kind of really dig, that he's the another that Yoda is talking about. It's not Leia.
Yeah.
So here's the proof of that theory. The kind of like, why that theory could make sense.
Receipts.
In the book, from a certain point of view, A New Hope one, it was made very clear that Yoda wanted to train Leia and not Luke.
Okay.
And in Empire Strikes Back, when Obi-Wan is like, he's our last hope, Yoda says, no, there is another. Ben should know who Leia is, so he would know that there would be another Jedi there. But if he didn't know about Grogu, because here's the other part of the theory that I really love, and I really hope it's true, even though I'm dead certain it's not. Yaddle is the one who took Grogu from the Jedi Temple during Order 66.
Yeah, I'm out.
I love it. Here's why. Because Yoda and Yaddle are the only two species on the Jedi Council. We've only ever met two of the species prior to Grogu. So if Yaddle hadn't died like she did in Legends, because in Legends she died, and with canon we don't know what happened to her between episode 1 and 2. If she hadn't died and just left the Jedi Temple, we know that Grogu was at the Jedi Temple before Order 66 and during Order 66. And we know that their species is very prominent in the Force, I guess it would be a good way to say it.
Strong in the Force. Sure.
They're very strong in the Force. So if they were able to communicate through the Force, because they're both very strong in the Force, they know that this kid's going to grow up really slowly, but he could also be the next hope if Luke fails. And so Yoda knows this and was able to communicate with Yaddle, who also knows about Grogu's presence. And so Yaddle was the one who took him from Coruscant and hid him away.
Ahsoka says she's only met one other person like this in her existence. So I don't think it's going to happen.
Yes, because I thought about that, because Yaddle, and I'm certain this isn't true, but I really like it. Yaddle wasn't on the council when Ahsoka was a Padawan, so she wouldn't have met Yaddle anyway.
I'm just going to agree with Patrick Willems. It's Yaddle erasure, and I think it's for the best. I think I don't think you need another Yoda when we already have the last Yoda. I think it's too much. If this is true, if it's true, I don't think Yaddle is alive. I don't think Yaddle should be in the conversation, to be honest. I don't think that's even in close. I'm sure you love it because that's like the most fan service. But the show has been fan service, but that's a little much. She's a deleted scene from a movie.
I don't think it's not a deleted scene, and I don't think it is. I don't think it is too much fan service going forward, going with what's happening now, especially in the show with Ahsoka and even with Boba Fett. We've talked about it today. And what Patrick Williams was talking about was he was upset at the Yaddle erasure. He wasn't saying that it was good. It was good Yaddle erasure.
And I'm making a joke, I know.
And I don't think it is. And I also don't think that it is Yaddle erasure, because Yaddle wouldn't have met Ahsoka anyway. And I also think it would be really interesting. Again, I'm certain it's not true. I'm only just kind of backing this forward because I like the theory. I just think it would be really interesting to kind of bring this, what is essentially a stupid joke of a Yoda in a wig, into kind of a more prominent thing. I'm not saying she should show up in the show. I'm just saying she should be the one that took him off of Coruscant.
I will say that Yaddle exists in Star Wars. It's not a deleted scene.
Sure.
No, I know, but she is in episode 1.
Yeah.
So having some acknowledgement when you're playing with this species and not knowing enough about them, whatever did happen to Yaddle, regardless, should be something they make clear. Not necessarily in Mandalorian.
Okay.
Just in this Star Wars canon, did Yaddle die before Yoda died, and that's why this baby is the last of his species, or is there species still out there? And those are still, that species is still a question, and Yaddle is a part of that conversation because Yaddle is canon regardless of what anyone can do about it.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't necessarily ascribe to that. I want Yaddle to be involved with Grogu. I don't think that's where I land on it. But what I do think, what you're bringing up brings up an excellent point. They have to make it clear how Yoda is aware of Grogu, because Yoda is pretty in tune with anyone who's messing with the Force after he's dead. So it wouldn't make sense, honestly, after a certain point, for Yoda's Force Ghost to not reach out to Grogu. That's kind of got to happen. Or I feel like it's a really big blind spot in Star Wars that doesn't make sense, because why would Yoda, of all people, focus only on the Skywalkers? Yes. That doesn't make a ton of sense.
I was actually thinking about that. I was thinking about that too. There was rumors going around before, even before the season started, that Yoda's Force Ghost would show up, and I think at this point it has to be inevitable, much like it was when Luke burned the tree in Last Jedi. Yoda had to be there. I think at this point, Yoda has to be in the conversation somewhere down the line.
To be honest, the person I presumed he would commune with in the tragedy is Yoda. I didn't think it was going to be Luke or Ezra or some other Jedi that's out there right now. I thought he was going to literally just commune with Yoda. Whether we saw it or not, I still think that could be the case. Sure. That Yoda person kind of presenting the path to him for the Force. Because I feel like that has to be done. You're kind of, I don't know if I'd go so far as to say that Yoda was referring to Grogu when he said there is another. I could completely buy that Yoda doesn't know that Grogu is out there until he becomes one with the Force at his death. And then he knows Grogu is out there because he's much more connected to the Force and aware.
Yeah.
I'm sure Yoda, like in episode 1, like if Grogu's hanging out there, I'm sure Yoda's like, look at that, one of me, cool. But I'm sure he's not like his best friend or something. I'm sure he might know of his presence because he's literally the only other creature of his species.
Well, again, like it goes back to like what we were talking in season 1. Is their species just an innately like a Force-attuned species? Because in that sense, he would be, he would care about Grogu in a sense like more than others because Grogu is like, as we talked about, just as he is in literal Star Wars right now. Grogu represents the future of Star Wars.
He's Broom Kid.
Grogu represents a Star Wars that lives past the sequels.
Yeah,
that's what Grogu represents.
Yoda too.
And Grogu represents that to Yoda as well. So, but I still can totally buy that Yoda during his life post Order 66 has no knowledge of what happened to Grogu, has no knowledge of where he is because nobody connects. Because Ezra in Rebels has to go to a specific temple to commune with Yoda. It's not like Yoda can just magically reach to Ezra because he's not one with the Force yet.
That's why they go to Titan.
So I think that there's a good chance that Yoda doesn't become aware till passing. But once he's passed, Yoda should be connected enough with the Force that I want Yoda to.
Because then he's got the Jedi Wikipedia.
Then I want him to be really aware of Grogu, and it feels like he has to get involved. So
the thing that I think attracts me to the theory the most is that I like the idea that during this great Jedi purge, Yoda would want to preserve his species the most. There's only 3 people. At this point, we know that there's only 3 people that they know of in the Jedi Temple that are his species.
So, kind of like a merging of what you're talking about, I'm talking about. I do think that it'd be great if Yoda had been involved in protecting Grogu, because Yoda was one of the first to sense that something like the moment that he's on Kashyyyk and that's happening. Yeah. And that's before like younglings are killed and stuff. He's like, "Yo, get out now." Yes. Yes, and that would be fine with me. But I do think like because of the condition we find Grogu in when the Mandalorian finds him, I would be willing to completely buy that he doesn't know that Grogu made it. He doesn't know where Grogu ended up. Can't find him.
Yeah.
Or even that a malicious Force got in the middle of it. And I mean, like, there's still a lot of questions about that to answer. How did the Empire know about Grogu? Who left Grogu where they left him? All that kind of stuff. But I do think like Yoda knowing Grogu is that representation of the future and saying, get him out of there the moment that he senses something wrong. Like that's priority 1, get Grogu away. Would make sense for me.
Because like Yoda was like 900, but like he was also like super depressed and like living in a swamp. So who knows? They could live even longer than that. Like,
right.
Like Grogu really could be like, yo, this is like the dude for the next like 1,000 years. Like
that's so true. That is so true. We don't know how long a healthy one of his species could last for, because by the end of Yoda's life, he was super depressed, super sick, living in a swamp. That's a good point.
And also kind of just like almost like willing to accept death because like his mission is complete. He helped Luke and stuff. He's like, I can return to the Force. I'm like, yo, man, you could be 1,500. Give it a shot.
Yeah.
Yoda, what a guy.
Yeah.
So what I like about this so much is that, I'm spouting shit about Yaddle. And I totally understand what it sounds like. I like Yaddle. I think Yaddle's ridiculous. And I would love to see some kind of like some like hell yeah Yaddle moments. But the thing that's so fun about Mandalorian is that it brings back it brings back what it felt like before The Rise of Skywalker came out. When The Last Jedi came out and you were like, man, all these pathways, all these things that could be like the possibilities were endless and you were excited talking about it all. And that's what I feel like now in The Mandalorian. I'm like, hell yeah, look at all these things. Look at all these things that we've got. We can go here. We can do this. We can do this. It's whatever. It's an open book. And it's fun to speculate about that.
It is. And it's not just that. When we talk about like the stuff in the episodes, like it's also like really good fan service. Like not like we talk about fan service all the time, like how it's gone wrong, but like these 2 episodes, man, like this is seriously how you do it. This is how you retroactively make characters cool and make them matter more to like the canon. Not that animated stuff doesn't matter, but like
for sure.
Live action stuff like just has like real precedent. And like Ahsoka Tano being live action is like, that's a big deal, man.
I know people who have started watching Clone Wars that have never touched it because of this. So I think that speaking to what Brandon was saying about like, you know, that feeling of limitless pathways, I think that the thing is what's so nice about Mandalorian is it really crystallized for me, like Rise of Skywalker didn't close the door on the possibility of Star Wars' future. If you really look at everything that we like about the canon of Star Wars, only the original trilogy films are really locked into a very specific kind of storytelling where it has to involve those main characters from those films.
Yeah.
We don't get a lot of stories that are about anything ancillary to that.
Unless it's
it's
the comics,
always
yeah.
following that. No, even in the comics, I mean, like, it's mostly still deeply connected to those guys. Like, you don't get something like The Mandalorian where it's very far removed during that time period.
Oh, sorry.
No,
because
she's
you mean
connected to Darth
removed.
Vader.
Sorry. I thought you meant characters.
No. I
Yeah.
mean, like, really far away from
No, I get you now. Yeah.
opposite side of the world.
The High Republic.
Whereas everything in the prequels and everything, now we have comics and shows that go very expansively far away. We're now getting things post that original trilogy that go expansively very far away. And Rise of Skywalker is just like those prequels where we're going to get so much material that stretches so far away. Mm-hmm. Rise of Skywalker will ultimately lend down the path of the prequels where, you know, you like them or you hate them, but other things have made you like that time period or what's going on around.
I can't wait.
And that's where we're heading in the optimistic future.
I cannot wait for 10 years from now, like the Rise of Skywalker gets the prequel effect where everyone's like, no, actually Rise of Skywalker rules. And I'm like, no, I was there. I was there during the battle. It's not true.
Okay, so let's just go into the episode. Sorry to derail. So the first.
Oh, baby, that's why we're here. That's what I'm talking about.
Chapter 13 with the Jedi, right?
Yep.
14?
Yes, 13.
13?
Yeah.
So the Jedi. Right away, we get Ahsoka Tano.
Yeah, I was very much expecting, you know, like she's probably going to show up probably at the end of the episode, kind of like how these things go. Nah, baby, it's her episode. She's in it.
No, we get as much of Ahsoka Tano as we got in this episode. I was so happy. Just like you see, like this fort or this town that's walled off, and all these guards, and then you see Ahsoka Tano essentially being a ninja, just like going in and out and just striking fools down left and right. It was like, yeah.
Going in and out of the shadows and stuff. Yeah. Good first impression. For sure.
Her white lightsabers are from Rebels, right?
No, her white lightsabers are actually from her Ahsoka book that went into Rebels.
Okay.
I have the book. It's actually not bad. It's not great. This is also the book that established how a red saber is created.
It took this long?
Yeah. So in canon, it took them that long. But in Legends, there was always like, there are red crystals. But now in canon, it was that a dark side user has to bleed a kyber crystal, and it becomes red. And so what Ahsoka did in this book was that she took a Sith saber and purified it, which is why it's white instead of its original color.
Oh, that's cool.
Right.
So that's why she has the two white sabers.
I didn't know that. Actually, I way prefer that because like playing Knights of the Republic and like I was a Sith guy, like, I just found a red crystal and I made my lightsaber red. But like, I have to destroy this crystal's purity to make it evil. Like that's so much more Sith. I like that.
I think they also did that Charles Soule also did that in his Darth Vader run that I have.
Yes.
In his, his Vader run, which takes place directly after Revenge of the Sith. Palpatine's like, hey, go get your lightsaber. He's like, I can't. Obi-Wan took it. He's like, no, that's the weapon of Jedi. I mean, Vader's lightsaber. And then he tells us, like, yeah, you have to corrupt it. You have to make it. You have to steal one from a Jedi and make it hurt.
Right.
Doesn't he kill a guy?
We did that. Yeah, he kills a Jedi. We did that as a book club a while ago.
Right.
Yeah,
cool.
and the Star Wars. Gee, I have it, but it's the Rise of Kylo Ren shows Kylo Ren bleeding his kyber crystal as well.
His hodgepodge thingy.
Yeah, it's a cool new concept that they were able to play with really well, I think.
Yeah.
So let's talk the elephant in the room about Rosario Dawson.
Yeah, man. Hey, she sucks. What do we get? What else can we say?
Or it's unclear now that she's defended herself. Who knows?
Yeah, like unfortunately, like, man, this has caused like there's a lot of people who this casting it's too much and they can't watch the show because of what Rosario Dawson has potentially done or not done. You know, we don't know. And I get it. I can't say anything of that. And this is just a shitty situation where it's literally everyone's own personal level of art versus separating the artist from the art. And I'm like, I hate it how much I like Star Wars. What can I say?
It's really it's really hard with Rosario Dawson, who's someone who I think is very talented. There's a lot of projects I really enjoy her in.
Yeah.
But that being said, like me coming to this wanting it to be Ashley Eckstein, not wanting it to be Rosario Dawson. I end up pretty much liking her performance. I think that she brings a I don't want to be rude, but a mature older age to it that I just don't think Eckstein might have been able to exude just because of the age gap.
Yeah. She didn't really get to play an older adult, really.
Well, and Rosario Dawson is older than Ashley Eckstein is, and that's what I mean. It's just like the physical presence of actual age, not fake age, but real age that I think adds a lot to Ahsoka's presence. And that I think that she does pretty well with. The voice was jarring at first, but I got over it.
Yeah.
I kind of look at it as like, we talked about it in the early MCU days when Mark Ruffalo showed up as Bruce Banner. It's different people draw him differently. So I kind of saw it as that, and I was pretty on board with it as far as like look and voice goes. It's just I didn't love her performance as Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it, and I don't really have anything against it. It's just that there's an energy to Ahsoka that I don't think Rosario Dawson was able to bring to the role. I personally felt she was a little too stiff.
I see what you mean, but I also just think she's also much older, and in the situation she's in, like, she's not going to be, ha, Anakin's apprentice. Like, she's an old lady now.
No, I'm not saying she should be Clone Wars Ahsoka, but Rebels Ahsoka even had more, and Rebels is only like 5 or 10 years away from this show.
10 years is a long time, dude.
Yeah, and I fully admit, again, to be clear, I like her in the role.
No,
I don't love her in the role.
Yeah.
I just feel like there was an energy to Ahsoka that we got in animation that I don't think Rosario Dawson was able to bring to the role. Whether or not that was a character choice or not, I don't know if I agree with it.
I think it's a situational thing where she is a one against an army. She's trying to keep low. I don't think she has a reason to be hyper or super more energetic when she in this episode specifically. If it's like a siege episode where she has more bombastic stuff to do, I just don't think there was anything in this episode to make her react that way. So it was a more toned down performance, but that's because I think that's what the episode required.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's definitely like glimmers of her interactions where it feels like more than anything in dialogue, where it feels like I'm hearing Ahsoka talk. And there are other moments where I'm like,
Grogu,
no, not so much.
With Grogu, all the stuff with Grogu, I thought worked really well.
Her line about firsts was a very Ahsoka line. That one stood out a lot to me. I was like, that's exactly the kind of thing Ahsoka usually says.
This is very much a samurai episode.
It's a Kurosawa episode.
We've got a pirate episode, we got a samurai episode, we got a western episode. Good job, Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau.
Bruce Lee's granddaughter.
Yeah, she plays the magistrate,
right?
Who is a daughter of Dathomir. That's why she's a big old evil lady. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. She's a survivor of Dathomir.
I did hear that. That's very interesting.
Dathomir, but if you look in the behind the scenes stuff, like that's where she comes from.
It's very interesting. So does that mean she's a Night Sister?
Maybe, I don't know. Like she looked kind of witchy. So I was hoping maybe some witch stuff would happen, but like maybe it's subdued. Maybe she's I don't know.
Well, she like left her home when she was young, right?
Because like
if she doesn't know enough about it,
she could have been too young. Yeah.
Because the only species that we know that were on Dathomir are Zabraks, right? That's small species.
I think so. Yeah.
And then the Night Sisters, and both of which weren't native to that area.
Right.
Yeah.
They were just there because of how force sensitive the planet was.
Yeah, I think it's Michael Biehn or whoever says the line of like, yeah, she was like the last, like she was like the survivor of like a genocide or something like that. And it's like I looked it up and I'm like, oh, they're talking about Dathomir or something.
Yeah, because we know from the Jedi Fallen Order game and Rebels that the Empire just raised Dathomir.
Yeah. I'm like, that's right. That's pretty cool. All right, cool. Yeah, the magistrate has power over this town. It's an old school tale of the people are being mean. We need to hire people to Seven Samurai this shit up.
Yeah.
It's a very simple episode, but
I do actually really like the magistrate's interaction with Din, the Mando, and when he's like, we need you to go kill this Jedi. He's like, where's the Jedi? He never says, okay, I'll do it. He's just like, where's the Jedi?
Like, I love a challenge.
Or if you kill her, you get the spear of pure Beskar. And he's like, cool. Where do I find her?
New
And
class.
then when he finally does see Ahsoka, he's like, yo, I didn't make a deal, because he is true. That's right. He never
didn't
made
make a deal.
He just answered a question. Yeah.
He just he got what he wanted. He wanted to know where she was.
Yeah. He did.
I also really like the interaction when Ahsoka is like when she's like, they told me to find you, and Ahsoka's like, I hope it's about him. When he looks over at Grogu.
A little smart.
Yeah, and apparently lightsabers can't cut through Beskar. I did not know that.
I think that's a Legends thing that they brought back into canon.
Good. That's cool. They definitely set up that Beskar versus Darksaber battle, didn't they? That's definitely happening soon.
Yeah. I really liked the meme going around where it was just Ahsoka has this like, are you giving this to me because you're telling me I'm going to have to fight the Darksaber?
Very much Chekhov's Beskar spear.
Oh, definitely. But you needed to give him something that could fight the Darksaber, because without it, he's useless.
Because first, I was thinking like, oh, it's gonna be like Ahsoka or someone else versus him. Or like that wouldn't make sense because like it's Mando's villain. I'm like, oh, now he's got a spear that can fight lightsabers. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. Let's talk about. Do we want to talk about Thrawn?
I mean, he's in the episode, so wowzers,
He's mentioned, so.
Yeah. So Thrawn is now part of this universe.
Hold on, before we go there, Ahsoka, when she starts the episode, she says that she's basically coming there for information.
Yes.
And first off, the magistrate says, how much are you willing to pay the price for this information? Because I'll kill 100 people and they'll suffer because of you. And she's like, oh, they suffer right now. And I'm like, oh shit. Because I think Ahsoka would have just been like, yeah, whatever costs right now is kind of what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Which is a intense move.
Yeah.
Because I don't think without Mando showing up, I don't think she had a plan for how to make sure no one died while she did it.
Yeah, I think she was just like, I need my info, baby.
Yeah. Once I knew she was there for information, what did you guys assume that was? Because I assumed the only thing I can imagine she needs information about right now is either Thrawn or Ezra.
To be honest, I wasn't even thinking about what it could be. I didn't even think we were going to get an answer. I didn't think it was important to the episode.
Sure.
I thought it was just the reason she was there.
Yeah.
And then the T word gets thrown out. So
I had no idea. I had no clue. And then when she asked, where's Grand Admiral Thrawn? Oh shit.
Well, she's saying, even before she says that, she's saying, where is your master? And I was like, that's Thrawn.
I had the whole episode spoiled for me before that came out.
Man,
that's a bummer.
That sucks, dude.
It's my own fault because I couldn't.
You don't do that, Brandon.
No, it's not just that. It's not just that. The episode came out on Thanksgiving, and I had to wait for Zara to watch it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, and because of how unbelievably boring my parents' house is, it's all my own fault. I got the whole thing spoiled for me. So asking me a question like that, I already knew it was going to be Thrawn. I knew that there was a mention there.
Sure.
But it doesn't change. I don't believe that spoilers really diminish how much you enjoy a thing. So I still really enjoyed the episode, even though I had the whole thing. It's still cool to be like, "Where's Thrawn?" I'm like, "Ooh."
I think a name reveal isn't as much as like a full character reveal.
Right.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want the ending of Knives Out spoiled for you, you know? Like, it depends on the context of a thing. Like, mystery things.
It was Daniel Craig.
Like, if the point of watching something is to enjoy the mystery of it, having that spoiled is stupid.
Like, I wouldn't want to go into Sixth Sense knowing the ending, then the movie would not be as enjoyable.
Right. Sure.
That's literally the movie.
When it comes to Thrawn, I'm like, that's really cool. It's still cool. If Thrawn showed up in the episode, I think it would have had a different reaction if I had it spoiled for me than if I just had the name.
Is it this episode or the next episode where you see Gideon on his ship? Oh, it's next episode. I for sure thought we were going to get a hologram of Thrawn in that episode.
Yeah.
Like when he's like on the ship and like, you know, it's like that beautiful angle of them in hyperspace. I for sure thought he was turning around and going to do a hologram thing. I'm like, nah, he's going to get Baby Yoda to throw some shit around.
Okay, so I want to real quick to talk about Thrawn because the implications that Ahsoka is still looking for Thrawn brings up something very interesting. And Dave Filoni has played coy with it himself. this could potentially take place before the epilogue of Rebels.
Yes, I was telling him about this. That's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild to me. Because Dave Filoni could just say, no, it takes place after or before. No, he's being coy on purpose.
Yes.
That's wild.
So what could happen is she finds the information, find Thrawn. She goes to get Sabine. And that's where Rebels starts. So with Thrawn's inclusion also brings up something that I actually started to get really tired of with this episode. If it wasn't for the next episode, I would have been pretty exhausted with the formulaic format of this episode, which is find a character, find a side Star Wars character. They tell you to go do a thing. Find another side Star Wars character. They tell you to go do a thing. And so I was kind of getting a little tired of that formula. And Thrawn's inclusion kind of exemplified that, and only in the way as so far as like, well, I kind of don't want Moff Gideon to be the lackey of Thrawn. And if Thrawn isn't a villain in the series, why bring him up in this series? Mm-hmm. So how do we feel about that? Do we want Moff Gideon to be Thrawn's lackey, or do we want Moff Gideon to be the big bad of the show?
Maybe not his lackey. Maybe more of, I would say more of an accomplice in a sense. Whereas, okay, so it's not like Thrawn saying, "Hey, Moff Gideon, do this," because I'm assuming Moff is under Grand Admiral. But still, it's one of those things. Is like, "Hey, you cool, you go do your own thing." But
or is Moff Gideon? Another question, real quickly, Sparks. Is Moff Gideon and Thrawn not working together, and they're just two villains in the franchise?
Why are you all assuming that Thrawn is still working for the Empire?
It's a good point.
There's no stormtroopers at the magistrate's place that I saw.
Yes. I think it is a situation where, because we know what happens to Thrawn at the end of Rebels. I think it's a situation of,
Space whales.
Space whales, yes. Hyperspace whales. Still hilarious, and I love it. I rewatched that clip recently. I'm like, yeah, dumb, I love it. Yeah, Thrawn has been doing his own thing with Ezra, without Ezra for potentially a decade, right? Like, that dude, I love Thrawn so much because that was a dude who literally turned on his own race because he knew the Empire would win. But once the Empire loses, what does that dude do now with his own life that he has freedom, basically? So I think I'm with you. I think much like Boba Fett, he is not tied to the Empire anymore. He's doing his own thing, but Ahsoka doesn't know that. She still needs to get her revenge or whatever.
I don't mean to diminish this, but like by comparing. But to me, Thrawn is probably running the same kind of now side I'm hustle that Darth Maul was all through Clone Wars into Solo. He's now his own entity thing, doing his own plan. I don't think he's connected to the Empire at all.
Yeah.
There's a rumor going around that the third book in the Chiss Ascendancy trilogy that Timothy Zahn is writing, because Timothy Zahn has already written another Thrawn trilogy.
Right.
Trilogy. No, that doesn't work. And he's writing another one called Ascendancy. There's a rumor going around that it's going to reintroduce the Uzan Vong in canon.
No.
Well, we know that Dave Filoni wanted to do it in Clone Wars anyway. Not in the same way that like, Palpatine was a good person all along. But like the Chiss in those books were fighting a race from outside the galaxy, and somehow it just got to the point where Thrawn joined the Empire, even though he doesn't really agree with the Empire. So I do think there's something there. So then I wonder, is the rest of is the show leading to potentially? Do we think we're gonna? I'll just cut to this. Do we think we're gonna see Thrawn in the show?
I don't. I think if they set him up, they have to at least show him. But if I'm being honest, I think this is all set up for another show.
Yeah.
I think Mando was going to want to stick with Mando stuff, but Dave Filoni has his love for the characters that he made and the stuff that he did in that animated show. And whether it's animated show or a live action show, I'll take either. I don't care. I'll take both. Give me two shows, actually. I think that's the trajectory. I think that's the trajectory.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Here's what I'll say. I don't think Thrawn will show up in any way meaningful to the actual arc and story of The Mandalorian. Mm-hmm. However, it would not shock me if we see a live-action Thrawn at some point in the run of the show, because every Star Wars dork for a long time has wanted to see a live-action Thrawn, and I could see them just doing it to have that moment.
Yeah.
Especially if it's setting up some other series or something. So it wouldn't shock me, but I don't think the more important point is that I don't think Thrawn is an important antagonist for the Mandalorian story.
Yeah.
I think he is Ahsoka and Ezra's antagonist for whatever story, wherever that's going to show up when it shows up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point. That's why I like talking about this sort of thing.
Yeah.
Um,
We get to this like,
but I
live
definitely
action Ahsoka and Thrawn. Like, man, I just watched Rebels like a year ago.
Yeah.
I think that was gonna happen. Great.
yeah, it is just wild to watch Ahsoka be live action. That was a wild feeling to just think back to little snips in that terrible first movie all the way up to this moment.
I saw that in theaters. I brought my grandfather to that movie. He didn't care about Star Wars. That movie's not great. I'm like,
talk about
sorry.
like the worst beginning and like what a character now.
Yeah.
For real, right?
Yeah,
I remember seeing previews for that movie, thinking, "Man, this movie's gonna bomb," and the movie wasn't good. And I was like, "I'm not even gonna watch the show. The show's probably gonna be that as bad." And then I realized Darth Maul came back.
I will never forgive that movie for what it did to that show.
Oh,
dirty.
because it gave it a bad precedent, basically.
Yeah.
Like people didn't want to watch that show because of it. Yeah. I was literally that person.
I came to Clone Wars like, boy, I hope this gets good. And the first episode they air did a lot of legwork to improve my feeling about it because it's all about Yoda telling the clones that they matter.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, that does a lot. And then the immediate following 3 episodes are like a too long arc about Ahsoka trying to save Plo Koon. And I'm like,
yeah. Plo Koon's dope though.
but it gets better.
Real quick, talking about Clone Wars, I didn't realize until someone said on Twitter that the Tartakovsky Clone Wars is not on Disney Plus.
Yes.
That makes me sad. That makes me very sad.
They
Because I was like literally about to I want to go watch that and I can't.
I would make a powerful argument that it remains canon, but most people will tell you it's not canon.
Yeah.
I refuse to acknowledge that because Tartakovsky's work remains the place where Asajj Ventress first appeared.
She's so good.
And also the stories of Grievous attacking Coruscant to steal Palpatine and the story of Anakin in the cave on another planet are both such excellent stories, and you can work them into the logic of the story still, where I'm they're canon.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think the Filoni Clone Wars series works without at least the beginning of the Tartakovsky Clone Wars series.
I agree with you. I don't think it does. I think Tartakovsky's whole first season, which is the Asajj Ventress arc, and leads into Anakin. Literally, Tartakovsky shows the ceremony where they turn Anakin into a Jedi Knight, and grant him that status. And that's where you open those later CGI stuff with. And I'm like, I agree with you, Brandon. I don't think it works without acknowledging it.
Yeah.
I Sparks and I, you both have it on DVD, but like, I'd kill for a Blu-ray of that show.
Oh yeah.
I want it.
Anyway, I want to talk about before we leave this episode entirely. Ahsoka's great overall, just like having the character, not necessarily in performance all the time, but having the character, her realization visually. I understand why they had to shorten her headpiece.
I don't mind.
That didn't bother me. I read about that. Because you do look at Rebels and they are, because like she's growing and they grow a lot longer in Rebels compared to Clone Wars.
I thought for some reason it was like the older she gets, the shorter they get. Like I didn't even look into
that's
it. So
the logic,
I didn't even
That's
care.
the logic I've kind of accepted is that like, they shrink, but I'm like, you do see in the epilogue, like she's still got them really long.
That's right. Okay,
it's someone drew her differently. That's how I look at it. That
exactly. Like I can accept it. I know the reason why, which is that they could not be that long and had her do all the action scenes.
Good choreography.
It was too unwieldy.
Good job, Dave Filoni.
It looked really good. All the setup, a lot of the shots are incredible.
The fight between Ahsoka and the Magistrate was one of the best fight scenes I've seen in Mandalorian. And don't get me wrong, Mandalorian has really good shootout scenes, but a hand-to-hand combat scene with the Beskar spear and the lightsabers was really cool.
Solid lightsaber action.
There's definitely the part where she gets the lightsaber, one of the lightsabers out of Ahsoka's hand, knocks it into the water, and I'm like, oh no. She doesn't need to, but I'm like, oh no, she's in danger now.
I always love anytime a dual wielding lightsaber person turns it sideways or like backwards, and I'm like, that's a kill shot.
Yeah,
it's kill mode.
They had the reverse hold on it.
Yeah.
I do want to briefly talk about the Magistrate's stooge, the
Michael Biehn
guy, Michael Biehn, who's who I really was interested in his moment where he's like, we're willing to lay down our lives for the right cause. And this isn't it. And I'm like, oh, this interaction isn't going the way I thought. And then he still pulls his shit. And I'm like, well, you die.
Like the second he's laying his blaster down, I'm like, you got another one in your back pocket. You're going to try and pull a fast one. Oh, there it is. And then it goes quicker on the draw.
I've seen this scene before, Michael.
I know what's going to happen.
I think the one other major thing from this episode I want to touch on is Ahsoka refuses to train Grogu.
Mm-hmm.
And
Anakin.
I get it. I get why we're referencing Anakin in her mind as a representation of why she shouldn't train Grogu. To me, it feels a little still like we talked about. They were going to find a reason inevitably to not have Grogu stay with Ahsoka. This still feels a little hammy to me, a little ham-fisted. I would have much preferred like Ahsoka being like, I can't train him. I'm doing a thing after this guy and it's dangerous. I don't have the time for I can't do this. He's safer with you. He's bonded with you. I could have accepted, but this notion that Ahsoka thinks that Grogu's species who lives for so long will not at some multiple points of what would be many of her lifetimes need to engage more with the Force seems arrogant from Ahsoka in a way that I don't appreciate.
She says that it would be better if he just forgot the Force altogether.
But I don't know if that's possible with their species, because you think if it was, it already would have happened.
Because he's 50.
Right, and I'm like, that feels like bull. That feels like bunk. That feels like Ahsoka needing an excuse, writing-wise, rather than like me buying this character who has, in a sense, forged a better path than either the Jedi or the Sith of how to commune with the Force. Yeah. That is essentially what that character arc has come to mean for a lot of Star Wars fans, is she found a better way to do it. Yeah. And her not seeing the way that she can implement a greater future for Force wielders through Grogu feels really silly.
I'm not going to disagree with you.
Yeah.
Because I do think you're right. I think it's very much a situation of kind of like The Last Jedi, where like Luke's like, I can't train you because we can't go down the same path we've done before. Yeah. I think that's what Ahsoka's feeling. I just don't think it's written as well. I think I don't mind the thing where like Ahsoka has seen what attachments do and all this stuff. Like I'm okay with her reasoning. I don't think it's written well enough to allow it, basically.
So my whole thing is that the reason that the attachments specifically as an argument bothers me is because Ahsoka's whole thing is that she should, again, like it's that arrogance that he won't ever commune with the Force again in the many, many hundreds of years that are ahead of him. That won't become a thing. I mean, and that she can't more responsibly train him because she is not only aware of it, she has learned how to accept the loss of attachments and still be a strong Force wielder. That's the whole point. Yeah. That's the fan thing going around about an older Grogu, is like accepting that the Jedi had it wrong about abandoning attachments. It's not that you can't have attachments, you just can't have fear about losing said
maybe
attachments.
Then just Ahsoka's just wrong.
Right.
Maybe she's just wrong then.
Sure.
Like maybe it's just a character thing of like, yo, maybe she's making a bad choice. Like that's okay.
And I get that.
Because it's Dave Filoni doing it, so like he is literally the only person that I'm like, I trust what you're saying about the character you literally created. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like
for sure. And I hear that. I just, as a person who we haven't seen, like there are story gaps to Ahsoka's story that we haven't seen.
Yeah.
But it feels in writing more like less of a because of the character choice and more of a because the show must be Mando and Grogu.
Yes. No, I agree.
Choice.
No, I agree. I think the writing doesn't do it well enough like The Last Jedi did.
Yeah.
Which,
well, I think
literally the same thing.
Well, I think Sparks is right that I think a better excuse would have been she is right now on a mission, and right now Grogu is better off with Mando. The other thing is you kind of bulldozed through a couple of things that I wanted to bring up. One of them is that in Ahsoka's eyes, Mando is essentially Padme to Grogu's Anakin.
Sure.
Like that's what she's seeing. She is seeing another Anakin. I wonder if she doesn't know how long Grogu is A, been alive, or B, will live.
No, she has to know because she's the one who explains that he was trained at the Jedi Temple So she knows he's at least a decent chunk of time old, and she has every reason to know Yoda was very old.
Yeah.
The other thing that I wanted to bring up was that Ahsoka's journey mirrored what we wanted to see from Rey coming out of The Last Jedi. The what we saw with Luke do in Legends, which was recreate the Jedi Order. Attachments were fine, as the fear of losing the attachments. What we saw Ahsoka's journey up until The Last Jedi was what we wanted to see Rey go through, a similar journey. What we assumed that Rey's journey would have been come Colin Trevorrow's Episode 9. And I wonder if the reason why, and they're kind of playing us off, but this could just be like damage control. I wonder if the reason why Ahsoka doesn't say she's not a Jedi in this episode is because of what happened to Rey in The Rise of Skywalker, which is that the Jedi were right, the Jedi were deified, and they were great people. And now Ahsoka needs to be, like, it came down from on high that Ahsoka needs to be a Jedi in the sense of the prequels were.
Mm. I think Jedi in this case is just the moniker, because like she's the lightsaber wielder, like he's the Mandalorian, he's the child, she's the Jedi. I think it's kind of just that. I don't think it's any more than that, to be honest. I
don't know if I buy that personally.
I just don't think, at least for Mandalorian, I don't think it matters, because Jedi's not the important thing about the show.
No, that's true. But there is a specific thing in Rebels that Ahsoka says, I am no Jedi. She's very clear. Yes, she does follow the path of the Force. She is on the light side of the Force, but she is not a Jedi. She, like Marc said, found what was essentially a better path. And it is a path that people wanted to see Rey go down until J.J. Abrams got his hands on
it. I hear what you're saying.
All Mandalorians are called Mandalorians, but they're not all part of the Mandalorians. Same with the Jedi. And I know we're bigger nerds, and like we like the actual meaning of the word Jedi and just saying Jedi are two different things. But I think honestly in this case it's just they're calling her Jedi because that's the best way to describe her.
I think more than anything, what Brandon's speaking to is that she never explains when he calls her a Jedi that she's no Jedi.
Oh yeah, again I think that's
and that she kind of refers to herself in that larger sense. When the last time we saw the character, she was saying, "I'm not a Jedi."
Yeah,
but she thinks of it as if she is still part of that, and she's not. Which is the whole idea of like, this is your opportunity to like forge that new path is in Grogu. So that's why it becomes so hard to swallow. Ahsoka letting that opportunity go.
That makes more sense then. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. That's exactly what I was saying, Marc.
I think it's again just Dave Filoni's great, maybe not the best writer.
Mm-hmm. Well, he didn't write this episode. Jon Favreau did.
Sorry. I'm thinking of wait. I thought he wrote the Ahsoka episode.
He directed the Ahsoka episode.
He also wrote the Ahsoka episode.
No, Jon Favreau did. Jon Favreau wrote every episode this season. I checked.
He did?
Yeah.
Oh.
I believe you. I 100% believe you.
He is a sole credited writer. Whenever the credits roll up and say written by, it is always Jon Favreau. Now, he could have written it with other people and they're just not credited. I'll give that.
Dave Filoni had input. I'm sure, especially with things like this, he had input.
Yeah,
but
Filoni definitely directed this episode.
Yes, this is a Filoni directed episode.
But he's still... Filoni's still involved in the process, so it's the kind of thing where I feel like at a certain point you kind of go, we need Mando and the baby to stay together. That's why we're just going to accept this. And it's like I'm not upset with the episode for it necessarily. I do find it the weaker excuse, which is what I was concerned about. Right. And I hope that greater justification and fleshing out occurs at some later date. Whether that's in Mandalorian, whether that's in an Ahsoka-related project of some kind. I just want that to be more crystallized.
Right.
I know we're running close on Ben's clock, so let's switch to chapter 14.
The tragedy?
Going into this chapter, I have a question to ask all of you. Now, Ahsoka says we're gonna reach out to the Force, someone's gonna find you. Going into this episode, how many Jedi did you count were alive?
I didn't count.
I wasn't counting.
Nobody thought about it? I love thinking about that. I'm sorry. I've asked everybody.
I figured it was Ezra.
Luke, Leia, Ezra, Ahsoka.
Leia's not a Jedi.
Possibility Cal Kestis.
People think Cal. People think Cal's still alive. Yeah.
Then Leia's not a Jedi. I just want to be clear.
If we're looking at everyone who's like, I don't think Luke's showing up. I don't think Cal Kestis is showing up. We're not getting a half-dead Mace Windu as much as everyone wants that.
I know, I saw that one too. I thought that was funny.
If we're just, I'm just like, it's probably the laziest answer, but like, if we look at who's left, who's making the show, who showed up in the show this little episode, it's got to be Ezra, right? It's unless it's a complete random, but that would be, I don't think that would tie into the story at all.
Sorry, go ahead.
No.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I still stand by that, like, my interpretation going into the episode, and still kind of where I'm sitting at this moment, is that he was going to commune with future Yoda. Or sorry, future Yoda, Ghost Yoda, Force Yoda. That he was going to commune with Yoda, and that Yoda was kind of going to present the path, and ultimately that Grogu was going to choose not to take on a Jedi Master, and that there will be consequences to that, because again, like, you're going to run into the same problem we just had with the Ahsoka episode. How can he have a Jedi Master and also stay with the Mandalorian?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So I think that ultimately, like, because they left that idea open, I do think Grogu's going to have to deal with his Force stuff, and that's going to be something that they're crossing across later seasons of the show, is that, like, it becomes too difficult, and, you'll circle back to Ahsoka being like, oh, no, we got to do it, or whatever it is. But in the moment that Grogu, with Yoda's guidance, is going to choose, nah, not right now.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Man, the way oh, go ahead, sorry, go ahead.
No, because Ahsoka says that he sees you as a father figure. So Grogu already has an attachment to Din, to the Mandalorian, and it was only him using the ball where he was able to use the Force to take the ball out of his hand.
There's a rumor going around that what's his name from Bly Manor?
Raul Cooley. Yes, he is. The joke is that, like, he's Ezra, and that's been like a nice, fun fan thing that even he leans into. Listen, man, he talks to famous people that are in the Star Wars shows, and he's not really famous. So it's either he's just a really cool guy that's able to talk to all those people, or something else is happening. It's just I'm just saying, like, sometimes social media talks more than the people themselves. It's very interesting that way. It could be bullshit, of course. He's the right age. I'm just saying.
We don't really know when Ezra would have spilled out on the other side.
It's Star Wars. Who cares? Bo-Katan's 55.
Boba Fett is younger than Bo-Katan.
Yeah.
And Boba Fett. Okay, so speaking of Boba Fett, and speaking of the next episode of Tragedy, I take back almost every single bad thing I've ever said about Boba Fett in my entire life, because holy shit, Boba Fett was awesome in this episode.
I know.
Again, we talked about this. You don't have to. Boba Fett was a shitty character for 40 years. He's still, before this week, he was still a shitty character. This episode just made him cool now. It doesn't make him cool before. It makes him cool now for the future.
Yeah.
He still sucks. He's still boring. He's still overhyped until now. Sorry,
so they go to Tython, and he puts them on the rock. He's like, just do your thing.
Turn on.
Is there a switch?
Do I have to do something?
Yeah. Do I have to push a button? And then he's like, and then once we see this slave one just fly, I was like, oh, we know who that is.
I'll tell you exactly what happened when I saw the slave one. I was like, oh right, he would still have that ship. Because I was thinking to myself when we saw him on Tatooine, I was like, okay, so he's still on Tatooine, so he's still like stuck on Tatooine. Okay, cool, whatever. We'll circle back to Tatooine eventually, and he'll be there. And I saw the ship, I was like, oh yeah, he would just have it. He would still have it.
It does bring up an interesting concept that, like, if he still had his ship this whole time, he just hung out on Tatooine. I guess
he's probably trying to find his armor.
He's a simple.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Just trying to make his way in the galaxy. Yeah.
He just decided not to take his ship, but to walk across the desert to find his armor. And he was on his way to that village, and he just got there, and then he sees him go away with the armor. He's like, oh, damn it.
Gonna walk all the way back to my ship.
Like, he sees the Razor Crest flying away. He's like, son of a bitch. All right, here we go.
We finally do know that, yes, it was in fact Boba Fett. Who had spurs on for some reason.
Because he had spurs on in the original. That's how you know.
Walking up to Ming-Na Wen in season 1. We were all A+, correct. Yes. Yep.
Gave her a robot belly.
That was a great way to bring her back.
Yep.
Yeah.
And apparently, Boba Fett is a Mandalorian, unlike we previously thought, because his father fought in the Mandalorian Wars, and we now know there are 2 sections of Mandalorians.
His father was a foundling.
His father was a foundling.
New information.
Which doesn't necessarily mean that he was like true blood Mandalorian, but he does at least come from Mandalorian heritage.
He's adopted Mandalorian, yeah.
Much like Din Djarin, he is a foundling.
Yeah. It's a nice little wrinkle, and it's something that brings those characters together in a way that otherwise they'd be Mandos.
What I really liked about Boba was that Boba was never, because Jango bailed from the Mandalorian people way before Boba was even born, if we're led to believe. So Boba would never have been born a Mandalorian. He would never have known Mandalorian culture. So when he's just like, "Did you take the creed?" It's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I just want my armor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right.
It's mine. It's got my name in it.
Yeah,
it's my dad's armor. It's mine. Give it to me.
I really like the interpretation that being in the Sarlacc pit finally made Boba go, maybe I've been overconfident and stupid my whole life. I guess I should try and actually get good at things.
Yeah.
Because watching that character in Clone Wars specifically, you're like, oh, he's just like always too big for his britches and stupid.
Trying to do train heists and shit.
And Rebels, when he shows up in Rebels.
Oh my god. He has like a crew or something, right?
Yeah.
What? Yeah. Oh man.
He's with Boss. And it was kind of cool. Like it was the actor who played him in Attack the Clones. Like he came back to do Rebels.
Tamora Morrison. Like it's always something. Again, I say it's only something that time can give you. You have the actor who played the dad who could now play the son, and it's actually better than it was before. I'm like,
son becomes the father.
The son becomes the father.
Father becomes the son.
It's Ouroboros, the snake eats the tail. And I like that Boba Fett has a little belly. He's got some pounds to him. He doesn't have a 6-pack. He puts that armor on. And he's like his armor hangs over his belly. And I'm like, hell yeah, daddy. Yeah.
I love seeing him go hand to hand without the armor. I think that was a really great moment to showcase how cool that character could be without the armor.
Tamara Morrison, who is Maui, he brought his own cultural stuff into it. And he's like, yeah, they let me bring my own type of like battles and like he does hakas. And it's not in the show, but like that type of battle with like a big melee.
The weapon is even based.
Yeah.
The fight stick, because they have because he took a staff from the Tusken Raiders and he's using that to fight the stormtroopers with. Yeah. And I love the fight.
He wrecks that helmet.
Yeah, he smacks stormtroopers and their helmets and their shitty plastic just goes flying everywhere. It's like, dude, this is cool.
We saw some of that. I think it was in season 1. So we got some helmet breaking, and like it's good to see some of that too, because like it's really satisfying to see that plastic, the slow motion break.
I love the idea. Robert Rodriguez directed this one. I love the idea that stormtroopers finally got good at shooting people, and they're shooting a bunch of people with Beskar armor.
Yeah.
I love the guy who committed to blasting that rock.
It's a video
rather
game
than
moment.
Moving away. He's just like, I'm gonna break it.
I played Asteroid. This works.
Or when the knee rockets show out and it's like, let's go, we need to leave, we're leaving, bye.
Nope.
Did he have knee rockets before? Because that's pretty cool.
I don't know, but
he always did. He just never used.
He has like the twin shooter. Like, yeah, this is the coolest Boba Fett's ever been, because he actually has a character too. Now we're gonna get like comics or books that are like what he's been doing for the last like 10, like however many years. Like, finally, Boba redemption. It's nice.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Or of course the great robot chicken meme that's been circling around where he's like, back from the dead, assholes, and he's killing all the stormtrooper. And even when he like shot down the ship and it crashed to the other one,
I missed.
And he's like, nice shot. I was aiming for the other one.
Yeah, I said a couple episodes ago, like, okay, so like is every season gonna be like getting the old crew back together from Navarro? And I'm like, this episode we got a new team. We got another Mando. We got Ming Na Wen. I'm like, what's her name? I don't remember her name.
Her character's name.
Fennec,
yeah, I don't remember. She's got a comic.
Fennec Shan.
No.
Fennec.
It's Fennec something. It's Fennec something.
Yeah. It's nice to have like a nice rotating batch of characters. Bill Burr's gonna come back. They're gonna spring him from prison somehow. And I'm like,
oh god, that's
right. Space Boston man. Space Boston man.
I sure hope is better than that Prison Break episode was.
I want to say they got him because I like Bill Burr a lot. I think he's a really charismatic guy, and I think like, can we just get him back? Forget everything else. It's like, let's just get him and make him funny again. Yeah. Because that's fun. I'm into it.
What I really liked about this episode was one of the things I really like about Boba's character now, especially, is that, and we get so much of his character. He makes a deal, my armor for the safety of the child, and when the child is taken, he's like, "Child's not safe. I'm still gonna help you."
That's
mad
honor.
And that doesn't feel like the Boba before the Sarlacc.
No,
it doesn't.
This is
for
new.
money.
This is new Boba.
Yeah.
This
And
Boba truly is a simple man trying to do good in the universe.
Yeah.
And I really like that character development of this cocky asshole going through the universe, and now he's just like, I screwed up. I'm gonna make my father proud.
He's probably gonna be like, hey, if you spent as long as time as I did in the belly of a Sarlacc pit being slowly digested, you probably change your outlook on life too.
Yeah, dude, he looks messed up. He's got his face is all like scratched and deformed like acid, and like it's a good look. I'm glad he's not like
he's
just
not
handsome.
perfect.
Yeah, because I'd be like, oh, you're wearing a belly, my man.
Yeah,
And
it looks like
I mean, that's what the Sarlacc pit is. It's you get slowly digested. It's not a quick, painless death. You're in there for a while.
We know what the Sarlacc pit looks like because of Star Wars Galaxies and like in books and stuff. But like we don't know if like you can live in there. So I'm imagining Boba Fett spent like 6 months just trying to survive in the pit of this monster, and that is a story I'll read a comic about. Oh my god.
Like either eating parts of the monster from inside
or
eating
animals.
the other things that fall in.
Yeah, like there's random Tusken Raiders who have been also living in there that he has to team up with. Like this, I want to read this book now. Oh,
I want to read the Tom Taylor comic that he wrote about Boba Fett now.
Is there
Tom
Boba
Taylor
Fett?
early in his career wrote a Dark Horse Boba Fett series called Bloodlines.
He
and
wrote.
And it's about Boba Fett meeting a clone of Jango.
Oh, that's sick.
Oh,
That's sick. Yo, where's Rex at? I'm just saying, he's dead. He's dead.
Right, where's Rex at?
He's like 90 now.
We saw he's fine.
Now, but now it's 10 years later. Now he's definitely dead.
There was
6 feet long.
I think you could potentially make some stupid Star Wars logic of like, we took out the thing that made him age fast.
I would really love to see some Boba Fett clone stuff, because like that is some really like high level like, do you have a soul? Are you me? Are we the same? Like that is
Rex
some like.
I'm just throwing this out there. Rex is bald too.
Yes. Oh my god, just get Tamora to play all the characters. Yeah. Wasn't that like a rumor? Oh, what if it's?
Yeah, it was a rumor.
Oh.
There was a rumor.
I feel like if we were going to see Rex, we were going to see him with Ahsoka.
Yeah, probably. So. Or he's with Sabine.
Or he's with Sabine.
Yes.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we know where he was at the end of Return of the Jedi because he's been retroactively.
Yeah, he was at
retconned.
Yeah,
yeah.
He's on Endor.
He could be a high-ranking officer in the New Republic now.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey,
now we know.
If the little boy in Iron Man 2 is Peter Parker, then that old man on Endor is Rex.
Mistake, I think.
But no, just like when we see Slave One fly in and we see Boba and he doesn't really say his name, it's not until Ming-Na when Fennec says Boba Fett is my salvation. Now I give him my services because he saved me from certain death. And just when he flies in with the armor on and he's just wrecking all these stormtroopers, the action in as much as I liked the lightsaber fight in the Jedi, I love the gunslinging action in the Tragedy.
I think this episode had the best action in the series so far.
So far, I believe so. Yeah.
Good.
When I was watching this, I was on the edge of my seat, just like cheering on, doing something I never thought I'd do in my entire life. Cheer Boba Fett on.
So, Ben, as we said before, we are getting a little close to your time to leave. So I want to bring up a couple of things. One of which was the Dark Troopers.
Yep.
We haven't talked about them yet. I think we should talk about them.
Yeah, they're rad. They look cool, and they're droids.
Yeah,
I really liked the man when Mando's like, "Okay, I'm gonna try and save you," and he leaves, and then the force field goes down right after he leaves, and he's just like, "Oh no!"
Well, he didn't put his stupid jetpack back on. God darn it!
Why didn't he put his jetpack? I was thinking about that the whole episode. I was like, why didn't he put the jetpack back on?
Yeah, he's not a quick thinker. He should have thought about that. Yeah.
Well, also everyone had it was like a Mexican standoff where everyone had their weapons on. So I was like, okay, you drop the jetpack, she'll drop the gun, and
But when the dark troopers are going, when he sees them and he's running to the thing, pick up the damn jetpack, put it on, and fly there, bitch.
Yeah, that's unfortunately another thing of like riding where like he can't get there before. It's got to be a tragedy.
Yeah.
So if anything, they should have like destroyed the jetpack or something. Like, cause like
he can't because it's Beskar.
Yes, exactly. So I'm like, he's just gotta forget he has a jetpack, I guess.
Yo, how much does it suck? He just got the Razor Crest fixed, and then it blows up in this episode.
Okay, real quick. There's a thing going around that I didn't even connect the dots, and if this is what happened, then I'm amazed. When Din is looking through the Razor Crest and finding all the things and finds the ball, Boba has this look where he's looking at him and then he looks away. Now, as people have spliced that together with the moment of Boba looking at his father's helmet in Attack of the Clones.
God.
And like looking at he understands the loss. I'm like, ooh, man, if that was intentional, that's pretty good.
Yes, the loss of your father and the loss of your ship are the exact same thing.
No,
the loss of Baby Yoda.
Yeah. Yes.
The loss of Grogu.
Sure.
But when
it's the exact same shot, I don't remember. If it is, good for you, I guess.
But when they just splice it to kind of be like, Boba like understands the loss because he lost his father. There's also another moment that I want to highlight that I think is really cool for Boba's character when Boba is flying the Slave One and Fennec says they've got the child. You need to go after them, and he immediately like, okay, that's what I'm doing now.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes after them. I love that.
But he can't shoot him because it could hurt Grogu. So.
Oh, no.
But then, of course,
and then just the Empire's back. That's crazy. And he's like, I'm looking right at an Imperial cruiser.
Are you sure? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I was super scared that there was going to be another volley and it was going to destroy that Slave One real quick.
Me too.
I thought it was going to be like, wow, we got Boba redemption. Over.
Yeah, I thought that too.
Which, to be fair, would have been a good, like, nice little ending. But like, oh, now we're getting more.
But you cut it short too soon.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, Boba deserves his chance now.
Yeah.
I feel that if they were to kill Boba in the Slave One and blow that ship up right then and there, I would be like, okay, you just brought him back and made him the most badass characters in all Star Wars in 3 minutes, and now did you just kill him? Nah, that's messed up. I would have been mad.
Is he the most badass character in all of Star Wars?
Yeah, all right, Ben.
For the-
I get that you're happy.
Let me finish.
Hold on,
For
Ben. When you talk, his audio goes out. So real quickly, Sparks, what were you saying?
Oh no, he can go. I was just giving him shit.
Yeah, no, he was giving me shit because I was saying for those 3 minutes, he was the most badass character in Star Wars.
I don't think so.
I mean, I've seen
more badass.
I mean, I've never seen a knee gun before. That's true. But I have seen Mace Windu literally destroy an entire drone fleet with his fists.
Oh my god.
So I don't know if the coolest guy in Star Wars is a 45-year-old overweight Boba Fett.
I'm just really happy that Boba Fett is actually cool now.
Yeah.
And maybe in 20 years, Phasma will somehow get this redemption, but I doubt it.
I doubt it.
I don't want it. I'm still sad that they didn't kill Phasma again in Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, they should have. Just do the 3-peat. Yeah.
I agree.
So yeah, the child's taken. The donor, he is a donor. Yeah. So I definitely think now this is definitely separated from Thrawn stuff. I think this is definitely tied to Snoke and Force body stuff, which is fine. Like I don't think they're not going too hard into it, but I definitely think this is Palpatine stuff.
I loved watching Grogu just wreck the stormtroopers.
The whole time Grogu was doing the Force thing, I was like, no, don't give in to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads
to jealousy. And then Moff Gideon's just watching like in like amazement, like, wow, you're so strong, little guy. Just makes you so sleepy.
And then like, Grogu's like, yeah, I'm tired. I want to sleep.
And then we see the Darksaber again. Like, you know what this is, don't you?
It's our closest best look at the Darksaber. It looks really good.
Also, I love that like it like grows. It's not like a lightsaber that just comes out. Like it expands out. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
I love that. Just to be clear, the Darksaber is just a black bladed lightsaber. Doesn't have any special powers.
It doesn't eat through matter. It's an
antimatter.
That was a fun little That'd be sick. That's what destroys Beskar. We're definitely gonna get a lightsaber Beskar battle. Probably episode 8. Is next episode 7?
Yeah. 7.
Okay, yeah. Probably not at next episode. I actually wonder because we kind of talked about this. I don't think it's gonna be like it's not going to be another prison like escape episode next time, but like if they're going after Grogu again, is it just going to be another like we're going to go break a prisoner out episode?
Well, I don't think. Okay, so here's my theory. Now that Cara Dune is an official marshal of the New Republic, she now has like when Din goes to her and says, "Oh my God, you're a marshal, and we need to go spring this guy out of prison," and she's like, "Well, we can't spring something out because this badge, those stripes mean there's rules we have to follow." And he's like, yeah, they took the child. She could probably like maybe pull some strings and be like, "Yo, we need this dude for a thing," and maybe strike a deal. Say, "Hey, if you do this deal with this, and like they don't spring him out of prison, it's like, hey." You do this deal. It's kind of like when those movies were like in Catch Me If You Can, where they go to Leonardo DiCaprio and say, "Hey, help us find this criminal, and then we're gonna reduce your prison sentence."
If possible. I think I would almost prefer that because I don't want to see another Prison Break episode. Mostly because I like the direction that this episode went. There was more agency. Like Din wasn't told what to do. He wasn't told another planet to go to. He had agency. Like, I need to do this now. I need to go save the baby, and I really liked that. And I don't want to kind of revert back to another formula. I want to keep the momentum going.
So my question is the next episode the Grogu capture, or so the Grogu would get him back, and then the last episode is something different, or is the next episode like lead up to the big battle? Because like we only have 2 episodes left, so I'm not sure what the trajectory is anymore.
I think it's possible we could potentially see a 2-parter.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a 2-parter.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, like, are we gonna get?
I mean, remember how season 1 ended? That was essentially a 2-parter because we're gonna, see our good guys put on their back foot for the end of the first part.
So, are we getting? Do you think we're getting Bo-Katan back for the last?
God,
episode?
I hope so.
Well, I would love to see Bo-Katan.
I have to assume Mando's going to be like, hey, I need all the help I can get taking on this.
He's definitely going to try and contact her if he can.
Yeah.
But Bo-Katan knows that Moff Gideon has the Darksaber, but Din doesn't. So I wonder if Din will be like, I need your help fighting Moff Gideon. And she's like, hell yeah.
Yeah. We have unfinished business, actually. Yeah, actually, it's a good point.
Do you think Gideon survives this season?
I hope. He's definitely been around a lot more this season, but he's not around.
I feel like we've gotten enough with him.
He's not there enough. He's just like the bad guy, which he's good at, but like I want more. I need more of that.
I want more too. I want more of Juan Carlos Esposito because I love him he does bad guys very well. So
yeah.
I don't like Rise of Skywalker, but I would kind of love it in kind of a stupid way. Is if at the end of the season Ian McDermott shows up as Palpatine. Just like a hologram, just a hologram.
If I'm being honest, any ways to make that movie better, I'm about, but I don't want it to be in service of the Mandalorian. That's my fear.
Sure.
That was my fear with the Grogu clone stuff in the first place. But I think the way that they're doing it, if they're not super direct about it, it doesn't need to be about Palpatine and the Jedis and all that. If it's about Mando trying to stop this plan from happening, and we just know the plan's vague enough that it involves this stuff, I wouldn't necessarily hate one Palpatine. I need the child, but I just still want it to be a focus. That's what I'm really worried about.
Sure, I agree.
But with Filoni, I don't think I need to worry.
Yeah. Okay, I guess that's it.
I love talking Star Wars, guys.
Boba Fett looks dope.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. That is
I will say, I feel like Din tries one too many times to try and pull the child out. Well, he's got the Force thing going. I'm like, bro.
After the second time,
bro, you it's not happening.
Especially he gets knocked out.
He gets knocked out on one of them,
and then he tries again. I'm like, bro, you're stubborn.
And he lets the other guys do all the fighting.
Yeah.
I like seeing proud dad Din Djarin.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you see him pop up, and when he tries to get the child through the force field. The definition of insanity.
Yeah, there you go.
You keep trying to think.
I'm stoked to see him with Boba in action over the next couple episodes.
Yeah,
I'm glad that that's just going to be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad Ming-Na Wen is getting justice because when she was just taken out in that one episode, we were all like, "What?"
Yeah,
that was my problem with the first season. That everyone was just there for one episode.
Yeah. This season, besides that one episode, which I think is fine, I think the season overall has just been real good. And the good type of fan service where I'm like, if it was done wrong, it could really like, oh man, Star Wars again. But like, because it's Dave Filoni and he cares so much, I think he's just doing great stuff. Like he's doing what you want with Star Wars.
You know who I hope to see again? And this is just, even if it's just a small role, but I really like to see him again. Mr. Kim.
Sure.
I'm
sure he'll be around.
I watched an interview with him, and that dude is so nice. And he goes to conventions every year. He has like dozens of Star Wars cosplay. He's the biggest Star Wars fan on the planet, and like, you should watch the interview with him. It's great. He's so charming.
You know what? One of the things that I think the show is able to do with the fan service to make it better than what we've seen before, is that it goes back to what they talked about in the Disney Gallery series, where they talked about the Mandalorian. They didn't look at Star Wars for influence. They looked at what George Lucas looked for influence.
Right. Very, very clear with the Ahsoka episode for sure.
Yeah.
Because George Lucas was very heavily inspired by Kurosawa, and that episode is super Kurosawa. So yeah.
He might as well have directed it.
And I think when you don't look at Star Wars as a reverential thing, you can bring in the fan service and it doesn't feel too ham-fisted.
Yeah.
God, like a beautifully intentionally made black and white cut of that episode.
Oh,
like, I don't want you to filter it. I want you'd have to have planned it and done it, but like that would be cool.
More George Miller, less Zack Snyder.
Just like even the opening where like she's in like the fog and like the lightsaber lights up and lights down.
Just like picturing what like an actual like purposefully balanced black and white. That first off the Kurosawa setting of it, but then like what the lightsabers would look like.
Yeah,
very good. Crazy.
Can't wait for next episode.
Speaking of, I wanted to jump back to something I thought of earlier. I forgot to mention. You were talking about like where we don't know where this takes place. It's very clear that they don't know, have made no decision about where this takes place in relation to the Rebels epilogue, because the concept art showed Ahsoka in her outfit from that epilogue.
Oh, that's true.
She's got her white cloak and everything on, and I'm like, yeah, you guys really didn't know what you were. That's okay. I'm not bothered.
Yeah.
Ahsoka the White.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's been that forever.
All right.
Hell yeah.
At the turn of the tide.
That does it
Mando.
for this. So the next time we talk about Mandalorian will be the season finale.
Oh, real quick. So remember, Brandon, when those rumors were going on, like there's like a Rebels show shooting, or like people think it's Mandalorian season 3. Like there was like confusion around there. Do you remember what
Boba Fett series? Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that Mando season 3 stuff might just include so much stuff from other seasons. People think it's a different show because so many people are showing up, because this season has Ahsoka and it's got Thrawn and all this stuff. So I'm like, people might just think it's another show when it's just another Mando season.
There's so many rumors going around that there's a Boba Fett TV series shooting, or there's a Rebels follow-up animated series that's done or something.
Stemmed from Mando, because all the stuff is happening in Mando.
Yeah.
Well, until Kenobi comes out.
Until Kenobi, yeah.
Cassian Andor is filming right now. We just heard about that.
Yeah. It is.
I am now on board with a Boba Fett limited series. Like, and I'm talking like the MCU style limited series. Like a 6-episode just about Boba Fett. Not multiple seasons, just like 6 episodes about Tamura Morrison playing
from the
Boba
end
Fett.
of the from Starlight Pit to what happens.
No, I'd even take after wherever we leave him off here. If he separates from Mandalorian and goes off and does his own thing, I will follow that character right now.
Absolutely,
I will follow him into a limited series. I'm totally down for it in a way I never was before. I still don't want a Boba Fett movie, but a limited 6-episode series, I will do that.
Yeah,
I'll take that.
You know who still hasn't shown up that I really want to show up in the series somewhere? Dr. Aphra.
Damn it.
Oh, dude, Dr. Aphra.
Yeah.
I thought I nailed it.
Oh, my God.
I think Dr. Aphra would be really great in this series. Not this season, but like down the line. I think that would be cool.
Who would play her?
She would have to be much older, too, so, ooh.
Not that much older.
There
is a well, we see her right now she's got comics right now between Empire and Return.
Yeah, that's true.
And this is only like 5 or 6 years after Return.
Right. That's true. Okay, yeah.
So people say Jessica Henwick.
I've seen that a lot too. That would be very sick.
Yeah.
That'd be very cool.
If Thrawn is live action,
who
plays
Lars Mikkelsen? Just make it the voice actor.
Look, it should have been Richard Gere, but not Richard Gere. Jesus.
Richard E. Grant.
Richard E. Grant, yeah.
Yeah. From
but it wasn't, so.
Okay, yeah, he really would be perfect. everyone, just because he's hot, Benny Slumber Bitch or whatever his name, like everyone wants him for everything. But like Lars Mikkelsen, who is the voice actor for Thrawn, who is Mads Mikkelsen's brother, find a picture of him. That dude has the cheeks of Thrawn. That dude is old and scary. Just make him Thrawn. But it's not what's gonna happen.
I'll tell you who I would like. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
But if it's not him, Jeffrey Donovan.
God. You guys and your Jeffrey Donovans.
Yeah, you know what this?
Yeah. How's his British accent?
Pretty good. You on Burn Notice, he does like a shit ton of different accents. So like he's pretty solid.
He would be good.
You know what I just realized was that this is a TV show, and I keep thinking about it in terms of a film, because films have one antagonist and you fight that and you go after that antagonist. TV shows, you could bring a new antagonist in the next season if you kill Moff Gideon this season. It doesn't matter. It's a TV show.
Yeah, I just don't want that. I agree with Ryan. Like I want Gideon to survive this because I want a little bit more of that character.
Yeah. I wouldn't even be shocked if Moff Gideon, like maybe he doesn't even die, he just fails his mission. So like someone above him has to now step in. And now Moff Gideon is like the second in command, like getting shit on.
That's how Thrawn stepped in Rebels.
Right.
Yes. Oh, with that guy who becomes a good guy.
With mutton chops.
Yeah, I love mutton chops.
And before that it was Tarkin.
Agent Callus. Yeah, he's cool.
All right, so that'll do it, I guess. We're all done here. We got The Mandalorian. The next time you see us doing The Mandalorian, it'll be the season finale. So stay tuned for that. And we already know what our next Fake Nerds Watch series is going to be. It's probably going to be WandaVision, so, you know.
Probably,
definitely.
Oh my God, it's happening in a month.
Yep. So stay tuned for all that. This is probably going to go up this week, so coming soon, we have a review of Freaky on our main podcast, the Fake Nerd Podcast. You can check that out live on Sunday night, as always. And of course, we got other things on here. We got more Fake Nerds Watch, more of The Mandalorian Season 1, The Boys, Swamp Thing, Watchmen, Umbrella Academy. So many Fake Nerds Watch series now in the bag. We also have our Basement Arcade series, which you guys just put up Fortnite.
Yep, Fortnite happened. We beat up Galactus, and now we're all the Mandalorian doing quests for some Beskar.
There you go. We got the Basement Arcade Fake Nerds Watch tie-in, The Mandalorian.
There you go.
And of course, we also have our Fake Nerd Book Club series, which we just finished Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and we're doing Little Char and the Gang.
You got it.
I did it.
You got it.
Until then, you can find us all at Fake Nerd Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Fake Nerd Podcast at .com, fake nerd guys at gmail.com. I'm at BC McLaren on Instagram and Twitter. Ben?
You can find me at Instagram and Twitter at BenMagnet27.
Sparks?
You can find me absolutely consumed in finals at SparksWitty at Instagram and Twitter. SPA.
Ryan?
Hey, I'm DJ Tony Snark everywhere.
Subscribe to us on all things. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel. A lot of cool stuff. Until next week, guys, this is the way.